It's here. It's here. The Era 1 review by David from ShortCircuit. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this for so long. This is so exciting. It's my first big review from a big tech channel, so this is awesome. I'm so excited. I'm incredibly honored. But yeah, let's not waste any time. I just want to watch this so bad. Let's get right into it.
Finally, someone is trying something new in the gaming mouse space. This might be the most interested I've been in trying a new product in a long time.
Get the bucks out
This
of here.
is the Era 1 gaming mouse. It's not even a real product yet. It's just on Kickstarter, but the whole raison d'etre is just this simple innovation. Let's take the sensor from down here and put it up here. Let's find out if that does anything. Full disclosure, this is a prototype, so we can't give full impressions on like the build quality and whatnot, but this is a near final shape, so this is gonna give us a good idea of what the final product would be. It's a 3D printed body, but it's not the worst 3D print I've ever felt. This unfortunately is a wired mouse, which is a bit of a bummer because I generally prefer wireless mice.
Oh, the wireless. The thing about it is, like 2 years ago when I started this journey, wireless had latency issues, the batteries were heavy, the charges were awful. There's so many issues that no one liked wireless, and all of a sudden Logitech comes out with the Superlight and everything changed. Man, I'm telling you, just get a Bungie, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
But the benefit of that is that this is a very light mouse. This is a 60-gram mouse, which is lighter than a G Pro X Superlight, and even a little bit lighter than a Model D-, which is my preferred wired mouse. The feeling in the hand is not bad. It's a little chonky in the sides. In the photos, it looked tiny, and I assumed from the weight it was one of those like claw-only finger grips. It is a little bit short, but my palm rests fairly comfortably on this and then kind of claws naturally around the mouse. They say it's designed for both fingertip and claw, not like palming. Yeah, you'd have a bad time just like going full palm. I think they did make a really good choice using the Kale 8.0 switches. They're rated for 80 million clicks. I know a lot of people put those in as aftermarket switches in their mice because they prefer that feeling. It also is nice to know that it'd be really easy to switch out for your preferred switch. It's using a PMW 3360, which is a sensor in a ton of mice, including Zowies and Glorious. It's considered a flawless sensor. I think is a good choice for this mouse, keeping the costs down, but not compromising on quality. As this is a prototype, we're gonna focus on the main innovation of this mouse, which is moving the sensor up all the way to the top. Intuitively, that makes a lot of sense. You think about how you hold a mouse. If you had the sensor down here, moving the same amount, it's moving less distance and you have less precision than if it's at the front. Like with your hand, all of a sudden, you're moving the sensor a lot on those micro adjustments. All of a sudden, you have all this extra range of motion. You could see how moving it up would give you a lot more control. I'm really excited to plug this in and see. My fear is, by design, all of a sudden the weight's gonna creep forward. I like pretty balanced mice, you know, front and back weight. I know on a wireless mouse, you can move the battery back, you know, counteract, and you could still have PCB and stuff further back, but on a wired mouse, I'm a little bit worried that it's just always gonna feel a little front heavy, and which would take away from the mobility and then reduce the advantage you gain from moving the sensor up. Anyway, but we'll get to that. You know, we'll get to that when we get to it. I'm worried that it might be one of those products that if you used it for a week or a month, it would start to click and you just get a little more precision. But as someone who has my settings pretty dialed in, we'll see how much this throws it off. The whole principle, according to the Kickstarter page, is that it's Fitts law, which is like if you move stuff further away from the point of motion, it moves, but there's like lots of numbers and lots of crazy shit, and who knows. I feel ready to plug this in, see how it feels, talk about the sensor.
Let's go. I'm ready for some gameplay.
First impressions, it's a mouse. I don't like the grip that I'm having on this shell. There's like a difference between the bottom part and the top part, so it just feels a little bit off. Again, it's prototype. It's a little too hard. I like a little bit of squeeze, although maybe that'll prevent me from breaking mice out of rage. In terms of tracking, I don't immediately feel a difference. I think that with a bit more use and being able to dial in settings exactly in the mouse, I might feel it a little bit more. In a bit, we'll compare it to some more traditional mice that I have a bit more experience with and see how it feels. Gotta show off that my one heirloom. I think I have two actually, but there's movements that I have that feel like they're spot on, but then sometimes I'm moving and I'm getting a little less motion than I would expect. I don't know if it's my brain that is freaking out because it's like, hey, this is a different kind of mouse, bro. I think that's just something you'd have to get used to, but that is outside the scope of this video, you know?
First time you use it, you really do have to consciously think about the new sensor position and aiming with your fingertips and placing exactly where you want on the screen. It almost becomes super intuitive, and it just unlocks so much for your gameplay. It's crazy. And I think he's just now getting to that point.
Overall, this is feeling pretty good. Why don't we plug in a mouse that I know a little bit more and see how the comparison feels. First off, let's try the Model D-. This is my preferred glorious shape. It's also a wired mouse. It doesn't have the solid shell, but I think the construction quality is slightly better. Prototype, you know, prototype. I love this shape. I wish they made a wireless variant of this. They make a wireless Model D, but not a Model D-. It's interesting. This feels more sensitive. Maybe this feels slightly less sensitive. I think having the sensor a little bit higher is making that 800 is feeling a little bit less responsive. Not less responsive, but it's moving a little bit less by my actions. This is what I'm used to. Although I did it, my brain was starting to adjust pretty quick to the other one. This one's feeling a little bit slow. I don't think it's gonna make as much of a difference as the claims are. I think intuitively, it would make a little bit of a difference, but like most gaming peripherals, it's just what you're used to. If you're used to the way that it's faster sometimes and slower from the top, then I think that's better. But if you're used to the more uniform motion or the more traditional acceleration from having the sensor right under the center point, I think that'll be better. Let's try a G Pro X. No, I don't even need to. Now I want to plug it in one more time.
You can't go back. You just can't go back.
I seem to be doing a little bit better with this mouse, which is interesting. I wouldn't expect that. I did dial in my settings first on this, and I don't feel like I can make a definitive statement if putting the sensor at the top is an overall better thing. What I can say is that I'm having a really positive experience today. I think that this is a fantastic idea, and it actually is feeling pretty tight. There is an adjustment because some movements you're getting way more action and some movements you're getting way less, but that's just, like I said, getting used to it. You can color me intrigued. If you are also intrigued, the Kickstarter's still up. They are looking for some funding, you know, making it a full deal mouse.
Dude, they shouted out the Kickstarter. Dude, that's huge. Oh my gosh. Let's go.
I think this is worth backing. It's not a mouse that's ready for production. It's 3D printed. It doesn't have the best build quality, but it's an idea worth supporting. If you have the money and you're excited about something new in the gaming mouse space, I like this thing. This is pretty cool, and I hope that they can take it all the way. Thank you so much for watching this Short Circuit.
Dude, David, you're awesome and a gamer. I love you. Let's go. Thank you, Short Circuit, for taking the time and reviewing my mouse. It's such an honor, truly. So, thank you for such a great video. And if you guys want to support the Kickstarter, yeah, the link's down where you can find it. And yeah.